What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the vlog. We are back in Denver, if you can't tell. My blank wall setup, love that for me. I miss the text house so much, but it's okay. It's so nice to be back together as a family. But today's vlog is going to round out my whole pregnancy with Madden, the 4th trimester vlog. Y'all loved it so much last time that I did this with Lennon because I included newborn essentials, and it's so fun this time to compare back to that. So we're gonna be doing all that today, and I'm very excited. I'm gonna answer all y'all's questions. So yeah, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I always do Q&As there, and then I just bring the questions here to my YouTube girlies. So I'm very excited to do this Q&A. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first question I got asked was an easy one. It is my birth story, which I am so excited to dive into a little bit because, as you guys know, if you watch the birth vlog, I literally went into labor the morning of my baby shower, and I labored the whole baby shower, which was crazy, but also very me, if you know me. And if you know my birth story with Lennon, then you know that is very on brand. Where do I start? So let's start with the hockey game. On that day, it was May 15th. We went to the hockey game, and of course the whole time I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go into labor just like I went into labor with Lennon, but I didn't, so we were great. But I did lose part of my mucus plug that morning, and that was a Thursday, and my baby shower was a Saturday. So yeah, that was a Thursday. I lost part of my mucus plug. Why can't I say mucus plug? I lost part of my mucus plug that morning. Go to the hockey game. This whole time I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm literally going to go into labor again at a hockey game. Hockey game ends, I make it through, thank the Lord. Friday, I lose more of my mucus plug, and I'm having contractions all day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, please just let me get to my baby shower, let me get through the baby shower, whatever. So Friday all day, I'm kind of just going through things. I have a little bit of spotting, which is also something that I know from my labor with Lennon can happen with me. The whole time I'm like, oh gosh, this is literally gonna happen on the baby shower. I know it is, I know it is. And not to mention, I went in to my 36-week appointment, which was also on Thursday before the hockey game, and I was 3 centimeters dilated and 80% effaced. So she was like, I think you're gonna make it through the weekend. And I'm like, girl, I don't think I am, because I know me and I know my labor, and I was literally 3 centimeters and 80% effaced the morning that I went in. Well, I was 100% effaced with Lennon, 38 weeks. So this is, again, 36 weeks in 5 days. And I'm 3 centimeters and 80% effaced. I'm like, I know me. I'm gonna go into labor. I know I am. And I'm doing nothing to try to put myself into labor, because I'm like, I don't really want to go into labor on my baby shower. I want to enjoy it. So mucus plug Thursday, half of my other mucus plug on Friday morning. Get to Saturday. This is our baby shower day. I wake up and I'm super, super crampy. I'm like, oh no, just feel really crampy. I go to the bathroom, I go pee, and I'm in the morning, when you wake up, you go to the bathroom in the morning, whatever. So I go to the bathroom, and I feel a little bit of a gush, and I'm like, oh no, that was not pee. That was not pee. And I'm like, okay, I can't tell if that's my water. Same thing with Lennon. I did not know if it was my water or not. I was like, okay, I can't tell what's going on here. So I get up, I start getting ready for the baby shower, and proceed my day as normal. I'm not having any normal contractions. I'm just having what I think are Braxton Hicks, whatever. And I'm getting ready, and I'm like, oh, okay, this doesn't feel great. And at this time, I'm also like, oh my gosh, am I peeing myself? What is going on? Go to the bathroom, and I'm literally, I just think I'm leaking water, which, come to find out, is exactly what I was doing. But I'm just leaking and wondering what's going on. I'm super achy, whatever. I'm just gonna monitor it, and we're gonna go from there. So that's what I did. I monitored it, the whole party, whatever. I keep looking at Jared, and I'm like, I think today's the day. I think it is. And again, I'm doing nothing to put myself into labor. My body just I don't know, the past 2 times, it's just done its thing. So if you're coming here for tips on how to go into labor naturally, I don't have any for you. My body just goes early. And again, at this time, I am 37 weeks on the dot. I turn every Friday, and that's whenever I would turn every week. And so I was 37 weeks in like one day, literally on the dot. So going through the whole party, everyone's like kind of like, they know that I'm like, something's going on because I told them, I'm like, okay, y'all, like, I might have to leave, like, if my contractions start getting stronger or crazier or whatever, because I do think this is my water. But again, I had like imposter syndrome, like being in the moment, I was like, there's no way this is happening at 37 weeks. But looking back now, I'm like, Kennedy, you knew all the signs. You lost your mucus plug. You literally were 3 centimeters dilated, 80% of face. Like, you know your body, and I knew it, but whatever. So the party ends, and we're kind of like cleaning up and doing things, and I'm still in denial. I'm like, there's no way this is my water. There's no way I'm going in. My contractions aren't even normal. So like, I kept telling myself that, you know what I mean? So we end the party, people are still there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna like sit down and just time them just to see like, okay, is there any consistency? What is going on? Like, whatever. So I sit there for like an hour, and my contractions are like 10 minutes apart, which again is not enough to warrant going in, because they're supposed to be like 5 for a minute. And there's a little like asterisk next to that. It's like only if your water is not broken. So like, you should wait for 5-minute contractions, whatever it is, if your water is not broken. But if your water is broken and they're 10 minutes apart, then like, I should go in. But again, I did not know if it was my water or not, which is the craziest thing still looking back. So I was like going back and forth. I'm like, do we go in? Do we not? The hospital bag's packed. My whole family's there. Easy. Jared's brother's in to help. Like, we have help. So I'm like, you know what? The worst possibility, if we go in, they're just going to send us home and whatever. So unlike my birth with Lennon, I had time to make this decision. So I took a shower, I shaved, I had my spray tan, like, oh, it was great. So I was like, you know what? If we go in, at least I'm like perfectly cleansed, hospital bags packed, and I can like rest easy in labor there, which was a great option if I needed to. So Jared gets out of the sauna, which is funny. He like sauna and cold plunges every night in Texas house. And I was like, hey, I think we need to go in. Like, I don't know what is telling me, but my gut's telling me we need to go in. So we get the bag packed, we get the car packed, he packs, it's all packed, whatever. We get in the car, we go, we're like jamming out. I'm like, if I'm in labor right now, this is gonna be insane, because I am just chilling. My contractions are nothing like crazy, like doesn't hurt or anything. Like, I'm already at 3 centimeters. So like, if I am in labor, like, who knows what I'm at now. So like, we better go in. And everyone always told me the second comes faster, so to not play around. So I was like, all right, I'm not playing around, I'm going in. So we get there, and like, we walk up to the hospital, and like, there's this like little like speaker thing you're supposed to press, and I like press, and I'm like, I think I'm in labor. Like, I have imposter syndrome here. Like, I don't feel like I am, but maybe I am. They're like, all right, come on in. So we go in, and I'm like, at this time, I'm like literally texting my OB, because like, she's really amazing, and she like gave me her number, and we text and whatever, and she's honestly like friend now. She's awesome. But I tell her I get there, and she's not even on call. And like, with Lennon, I didn't even have the OB that I saw my entire pregnancy deliver me. So I hated that. And this time I'm like, I love this, that like the person who I've seen this entire pregnancy might deliver me, which is so nice. So I was texting her like, hey, like, this happening, like, maybe we are in labor, whatever. So I get in there, and I'm about to get like swabbed, which is what they do whenever they're testing to see if your water broke. So they swab me and Jared are just, again, chilling. It's like 10:45 at night, 11, whatever it is. And I'm like, looking at him, I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I just don't have that feeling that I'm like in labor. Like, I don't know how to explain it. So nurse comes back in after 20 minutes, and usually like it pops positive immediately. And she told me, she was like, it's not positive yet, so like, it could be just, you know, leaking, whatever. And so that's why we wait the full 20 minutes to make sure that it is your water. And I was like, okay. Me and Drew are chilling, we're like texting my OB still, whatever. 20 minutes passed, and the nurse comes back in, and she goes, well, you're in labor. And I was like, what? I'm like, no way. She goes, you were right, you were literally barely leaking water, which is crazy, because the test is like the faintest positive, but it counts. And we are in labor, we're about to get checked in. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is happening. She goes, you're gonna have a St. Patty's Day, baby. I was like, holy cow. And by the time I got to the hospital, like they checked my cervix and I was 4 centimeters and still 80% of face. So obviously I was still having contractions and everything, and like my body was just naturally in labor, which is crazy. And yeah, so we get checked into the hospital, and again, like the birth vlog, I updated you guys every like whatever 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. And they were like checking me, and I was progressing super fast. And then I kind of got to a standstill where it was cutting close on the time, because again, if your water breaks and you don't go into labor, like, or your water can break and you're in labor, but if you don't deliver within the 18 hours, there's risk of infection or whatever. So I got to like 5 or 6 centimeters, and they were like, okay, let's go on Pitocin and let's get on your epidural. I was like, yeah, I'm not risking that. Give me the epidural, give me Pitocin, let's go. So that was like at 12 and 2 a.m. and then I started pushing at 4. So like I went from like a 6 to a 10 on Pitocin in like less than like an hour, which was like fantastic. Love that for me. And yeah, so after that, it was a breeze. I mean, I barely pushed. I pushed for like 10 minutes, which was incredible. Again, if you saw in the birth vlog, which is so near and dear to my heart, I thought the birth vlog, I literally could watch that like 100 times. I was like, that was the best, most amazing birth ever, even better than Lennon, because obviously with Lennon, y'all know that I kind of had some complications at the end. Like I bled a lot, I almost hemorrhaged, and this time there was none of that, which was so amazing. But yeah, so I pushed for 10 minutes and Jarrett got to deliver Madden, which was, it was so special, so incredible, and that will be a memory for us forever. So love that. Yeah, so again, if you're just watching this vlog and you want to go back and watch the birth vlog, this is all in there. I'm just explaining it from like, probably from like, I didn't really explain me going into labor, but labor was all in there. So that was an amazing memory and such an amazing labor. It was so great, and it was as easy as it looked, like truly. I feel like there's not enough amazing birth stories on the internet, so if you're looking for one, here you go. Don't be scared. I loved it. I loved every little bit of labor. But yeah, so that was Madden's birth story. Really, he was just such a perfect baby. No jaundice like Lennon had. He's just really tan. He had like a tiny bit of jaundice, just not like how Lennon had it. We had to stay under the lamps for like 3 days extra at the hospital. So that was just stressful in itself, especially when you're a new mom. So yeah, Madden was my easy birth, easy child so far. Okay, so next question is the meaning behind his name. If you've been following me for a while, I have hinted at the fact that he was going to be named after my dad, because I keep saying he's the first boy in the family. He's the first boy in the family. So he was 1000% named after my dad, whose name is Thaddeus. And the reasoning for that obviously is because he's the first boy in my family, but also because my dad is a very special man to me, and he has a cool name. Like I've never met another Thaddeus before. So I love that, and Jarrett loves my dad, and I just was like always in the mindset like I'm going to name my first son after my dad if I ever get the chance to have a son. So enter Madden Thaddeus. And we were going back and forth with naming him Thaddeus or naming him Madden, because Madden, so I got the name from Vegas, which is funny because like when we were on the Raiders, John Madden, and I was like, oh my God, I love the name Madden. Like I've never met a Madden before, but it's also like not too out there to where it's like too unique, you know what I mean? So I loved that name, and so that's when I kind of came up with it. It wasn't like Lennon where I had it since high school, but it was one of those names where I was like, ooh, love that. Putting it in the bank just in case. I've already started having kids. I love Madden. We have a ton of boy names, but Madden quickly jumped to the top of the list, and I was like, I'm gonna name my son that. And then of course, want to name Thaddeus after my dad, but we were going back and forth of like Thaddeus Madden Stidham or Madden Thaddeus Stidham. And me personally, and me and Jarrett are both the same in this, I don't like when people like have to like explain that their name is this and their middle name is actually their first name. So like I didn't want him to have to go through that, and so I just was like, let's just do it. Like we're doing Madden Thaddeus. He's still named after my dad, but now he doesn't have to go through the trouble of saying well, my name is not Thaddeus. I go through my middle name, Madden, and like whatever. And there, I have so many friends who name their kids off their middle name, and that's totally fine. We're just not going to do that. And it's funny because I got so many DMs from y'all like, thank goodness you didn't do that. And I'm like, well, there's no shame in it if you want to do that. Like, it's a nice way of honoring with still not having to like use the name as the first name. But I was like, it's either going to be Madden or it's going to be Thaddeus, and it's going to be Thaddeus Stidham or it's going to be Madden Stidham. Thaddeus was always like going to be the middle name for Madden no matter what. But I just didn't want to do the first name Thaddeus because if he was going to go by Madden, might as well be his first name. You know what I mean? So, Madden Thaddeus, that's the story behind his name. And we are in love with it. And if you watched the birth vlog, you saw me and my whole family and Jarrett losing it when we told my dad because he didn't know for sure. And that clip will forever be in my heart because it was such a special moment. And he is definitely a Madden Thaddeus for sure. I want to call him Thaddeus sometimes, even like Mad Tad. That's his nickname. But yeah, so that's the story behind his name. Okay, the next question is, how is breastfeeding going compared to the first time? And y'all, let me tell you, breastfeeding this time is so easy. I actually had like no issues the first time. Like my breastfeeding journey, somebody asked me in a Q&A and I was like, it's very bland, very easy. I never had trouble. My milk supply is, I'm a milk mama. It's great. And this is not to like make anyone feel less of themselves. I'm just talking about my journey. It's been super easy for me. And also if anybody who is like nervous about it, here's a story you can relate to that is not to scare you. So it was really easy for me. I never had issues. My milk came in like literally the day after labor both times, which is kind of crazy. My milk comes in so fast, but I literally lactate from like week 12. I'm not even kidding. Like with Lennon, I started at 18, but with Madden, I was lactating from literally when I found out I was pregnant. Like I never really stopped lactating from when I was done breastfeeding with Lennon. Like I could still squeeze and stuff will come out. But it's funny how like your body resets because it went back to colostrum whenever I found out I was pregnant with Madden, which is so crazy. Like before that, it was like literally I could squeeze milk out. But then now it's like colostrum whenever I found out I was pregnant. So it's crazy how our bodies do that. But yeah, so breastfeeding is going amazing. I had the goal of 6 months with Lennon and I did it, but this time I'm like, we'll see. I think I'm going to continue breastfeeding through summer just because we have vacations, we have traveling, and I don't really want to have to worry about bringing formula or whatever, but it's also a pain to think about like pumping too. So we'll see. But I really don't have the mindset that like I have to breastfeed or my child will not be fine. Like I'm fed his best and I have milk. I'll give it to him. Whenever I'm ready to stop breastfeeding, I will stop because I'm not going to put that pressure on myself. And I honestly, like, I love not being a milk mama. Like, it's hard to stop because I have such a good supply and I feel selfish for stopping for no reason except for me. But then again, I'm like, no, that is a reason. I matter too. So yeah, I don't know. Obviously my kids come first, but they're going to thrive on formula just like normal kids do. Like formula kids are great. Breastfed kids are great. Fed is best in my opinion. So yeah, so breastfeeding is going great. He latched immediately and it's been great. So that has been super fun, especially like I feel like everything second time around is just so much easier. Like it's so much easier. I cannot stress that enough. So much easier mentally, physically, everything. It's been so nice. All right, this next question is, how is postpartum different after giving birth to Madden versus giving birth to Lennon? So this postpartum has been incredible, honestly. Like I am a completely different person than I was with Lennon, and I feel like majority of that reasoning is because I didn't know what to expect postpartum first time. Like I just was like bleeding more than usual, obviously after birth, and then because I almost hemorrhaged, so like the recovery was a little bit different for me. This time I'm like, okay, I know what to expect. I know what the worst that can happen is, and I was just so mentally prepared for it. And I feel like that's the key, is just to be mentally prepared for postpartum, which I was not the first time. Second time, I'm like, I'm mentally prepared. I've got this. I know what's to come. And it was better than expected. Like, I only bled for like, I would say heavily, like 2 weeks. And then I was still bleeding like 4. But then by my 6-week appointment, I was like, no blood, nothing, which was so amazing. Because even with London, I was still bleeding like 8 weeks. So again, this one, amazing. The only thing this time that really caught me off guard was the cramping. Like when you're breastfeeding, or even just like your uterus contracts, that cramping was, oh my God, like worse than anything I've ever felt in my entire life. Like, I'm not even kidding. I literally was like, I looked at Jarrett, I go, I don't know what these are, but I need the heavy meds. And so I asked my nurse, she goes, oh yeah, that's your uterus contracting. I was like, I never felt this with Lennon. Like, unless I have a really high pain tolerance, which I know I do, but like way higher than usual. These were like, literally, I was like, so much pain. Like, I can't even explain it. It's just like, hurts so bad. So that was the only difference postpartum, was like getting over that, but that was only like a few days. So I don't even remember it now. So that's what's nice. But I'm 8 weeks postpartum now, and I feel so amazing. My body is nowhere where it was before, and that is completely fine. I obviously want to be like in better shape, and that's gonna come naturally whenever I decide to start working out. But right now I'm just comfortable with where I'm at, and I love my body for all that it did. So I really never put pressure on myself regardless. I just kind of function at whatever I want to function at. I'm like, okay, if I want to get fit for summer, I will. If I just want to function at my nice and little like postpartum body that I'm at right now, then I'm going to do that with my little flab, and I don't care. So I just don't ever put that pressure on myself regardless. But it definitely is different round 2. I feel like I tightened up so much faster round 1. Lennon's round 1, Madden's round 2. I feel like I tightened up way faster round 1, but I still don't really care. Like, I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna function when I'm gonna function at, and I will deal with it when I want to. Right now I'm just worried about feeding my baby, and also I'm a person that functions breastfeeding wise at a certain weight, and a certain amount of fat gets held on to, because I need that certain amount of fat to produce milk, and I'm okay with that. So it's just gonna be dealt with whenever it wants to be dealt with, and I don't really care right now. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, postpartum this time was so amazing. And I also hated the newborn phase with Lennon. Like, I despised it. This time I love it with Madden. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot how easy it was. I forgot like how amazing it was. However, obviously, you don't get a lot of sleep regardless, but after the first 2 weeks, he would stop waking every 3 hours. I got like 4-hour stretches. I got like 5-hour stretches. We're at all night now, which is so nice. He goes from 8:45 to 7 a.m. That's very recent though, so don't think that your baby should be there at 8 weeks. It just really recently happened. And also, to be completely transparent, something that me and Jarrett did with Lennon was have a night nurse. So if you are able to have the means for that, it is life-changing. Like, I can't even explain to you. I mean, I can give you a little backstory of like what a night nurse does, but they basically like watch your baby while they sleep, and then they come and wake you up to feed them, and then after you feed them, you burp them and put them back down. That's literally it. So I'm still waking up every 3 hours or whatever. Back then, postpartum, I was still waking up every 3 hours to feed him, but somebody else was just changing his diaper, burping him, and putting him down, which lets me sleep another 3 hours until I have to feed him again. So again, that is a very like niche thing, but I'm never gonna pretend like I'm not doing things to help myself get better. Like, postpartum wise, that was something mentally that was so nice for me to help with my recovery, because sleep is recovery, y'all. And it's honestly crazy. I like look back at Lennon's days. So with Lennon, we did a night nurse twice. And with Madden, we're doing it a lot more often. And it's so much better, because then I can wake up and be a mom to my toddler and be a mom to my newborn that both need me. You know what I mean? And I am better for sleeping. So that is just me being transparent with you guys and making sure you know that, like, there are things going on that I'm doing to help myself postpartum for sure. And also another one is helping out with Lennon. Like I have a nanny come from 8:30 to 12:30 when she goes down for a nap, so that I kind of call those like my daycare hours. Like if she was in daycare, she would be doing this. If she was in mom's day out, she would be doing this. So like the nanny takes her to go do play museums, that she goes to the zoo, she goes to do other things. And I literally get that 4 hours to like feed Madden, lay in bed and recover. That was back in pre-post, like that was like very postpartum, like the first 4 weeks. Right now I'm basically doing a lot by myself. Lennon still does her little daycare out, but like I'm with her the whole afternoon. Jarrett and I are with her the whole afternoon. Yeah, so one thing postpartum that I literally was like, I'm doing for myself this time was asking for help. And I did that, and it's so much mentally better on me and Jarrett's marriage and our relationship and everything, because I'm not juggling 2 kids by myself. Like I have help, like for sure. And I will always be honest about that. Like I will never pretend I'm something I'm not. So I will be open with you guys with that about. But yeah, so Lennon's not in any Mother's Day out or any daycare or anything like that. So I think of those hours as like her activity with somebody else where I can like do stuff like this, get things done, do my work, also spend time with Madden, because Lennon got me all the time by herself. And I'm like, okay, I kind of want to have that 4 hours with Madden by myself. And of course he naps some of it, which also, okay, then I can go brush my teeth and wash my face. It's all about balance. And like, there's something that I learned this postpartum is to do. And that's to put my kids very, very first, but also put my needs first. And Jarrett has also done that as well, because that's like him getting me the help that I need to be able to function as a mom. And I wish every mom had that resource, and I wish every mom had the means to do this as well, but that's just what has worked personally for us, and it's been incredible. So yeah, this postpartum compared to Lennon's, wow, I just feel like I have it down, and it's been so nice. Especially breastfeeding and recovery were so different than with Lennon, and that was amazing. Okay, next question is it hard with 2 babies? What was an easier transition, 0 to 1 or 1 to 2? And I love this question because I will die on this hill. The easier transition is 1 to 2. The harder one is 0 to 1, because your whole life just changes, everything changes. You like are dealing with postpartum, experiencing for the first time, experiencing a newborn for the first time, wondering what milestones have to go through for the first time. Like everything is just so new and fresh from 0 to 1. And then with 1 to 2, I feel like it's so much easier because my life is already has a child in it. I'm just adding more to the chaos, and that's how I think of it. And I'm just like, I will die on that hill. It is so much easier to go from 1 to 2 than 0 to 1. 0 to 1, I was like shell shocked about like how much my life would change. And like, obviously it's in the best way possible, but it's just like, it's a lot of change. 1 to 2, I'm like, I've already got this down. I already know what my life looks like with the child. Here we go. So I will vouch for that forever. And what I love about 1 to 2 is like, there is no like, of course there's new things that I'm learning, because of course I had a boy second. So like, there's so many things I don't know about a boy and I had to learn, but I know like what to worry about, what to not worry about, what to look out for, breastfeeding, postpartum recovery, all of that. Like I'm well versed on it because I went through it the first time. So 0 to 1 was like just shocking. 1 to 2, it was like, you've got this. Like, and I love that confidence, and I love that like secureness I had in myself to like do it and be a mom, because I already knew how to be a mom. So I love that. But the other thing that's hard with 2 babies, of course, like I took for granted how easy it was with 1. Like it was very easy. With 2, obviously, like I said, like you're sleep deprived, and then you're waking up and dealing with the toddler, and you have to be there for the toddler and for the newborn. So that's the hard part. But again, if you have a village, lean on them. Like Jarrett would take Lennon to go do stuff while I would hang with Madden. That's another thing, is like whenever you have 2, you're kind of tag teaming. You're not really like parenting together like you are for the first one, which is something we had to get used to, because it's like I just miss time with Jarrett, and I get like very selfish with him. Like I want my time with him, and we both love to invest in our marriage and like go on date nights and do that stuff. So we're very selfish with our marriage together, which I use that term in like a very like endearing way. Like we love time with each other. So like when we're tag teaming and we don't get to like parent together, that's really hard. But we're 8 weeks now in, and now we're like getting to like the swing of things and like finally coming back as one, if that makes sense, because we're getting to pairing both of them at one time. So that's been fun. But is it hard with two babies? Yes and no. Yes, because I have to make sure Lennon doesn't like smother him in like the nicest way. She is obsessed with him, which is the cutest thing ever. But like, I also have to make sure that she's not trying to pounce on him and like put her face in his face and like kiss him all over and like smother him to where he can't breathe. It's very an obstacle that I didn't see coming, but I also knew how much she would love him, so I'm just glad. So that's not an issue. But yeah, and I would say like obviously we don't have help every day, but the days that I do have help on, like I lean on that or whatever. But whenever I don't have help and I'm juggling both two kids at one time, like I went to a pediatrician appointment by myself with both kids, and that is like literally all of my energy at once. And I'm like, whew, that part is just like crazy. Like getting out of the house in the same time, like, is just craziness. It truly is. Like going somewhere with two kids is just something I'm not used to yet, but it is still like super, I'm learning that part. But I don't like to use the word hard in life unless it's something that's truly hard. So I will say it's difficult with two kids just to like function on a normal basis. Like you just have to like worry. Like it is truly a hazard to go out with both kids. Like we went to swimming lessons with Lennon, just me, Madden, and Lennon, and I took both kids. I had to go there an hour early to breastfeed Madden in the car while Lennon was watching something on her iPad to keep her busy while I was breastfeeding in the back seat. Then we went inside to a swim appointment. Lennon had slipped because she was running while I was changing Madden's diaper. Like there are just so many things that you have to like just be on top of when you have two kids out and about. Like, okay, Lennon has to hold my hand in the parking lot while I'm pushing the stroller. Like, it's just a lot. So that's why I just explain it as difficult. But again, I'm learning, and I know as soon as Madden gets older, a little bit older, it's gonna get easier, as well as when Lennon gets older, it's gonna be easier. So yeah, so that's kind of life with two under two. Okay, this next question is tips and tricks for dealing with lack of sleep with a newborn and a 2-year-old. Like I said, I'm never going to pretend I'm something I'm not. We had a night nurse for like 6 weeks in Texas, which was life-changing, y'all. Like I'm telling you, it is life-changing. Again, we had a night nurse with Lennon, but we only had it like a couple nights a week. With Madden, we had it like every night, and it was so worth it. And let me tell you, the night nurse that we had, we grew so close to them. We love them. If you're in Texas, we used, Nightingales, night nurses. That company was incredible. We loved all of our night nurses. We actually became friends with them, and they were amazing. And like I said, you're still gonna be lack of sleep, because if you're breastfeeding, they're gonna wake you up every 3 hours. The only thing you're really not doing is putting them back down to sleep and changing their diaper. The nurses do that for you, and then they soothe them through the night. If they don't need to be fed, they'll put the passy in, whatever. And then whenever there's time to be fed, they'll bring them to you. But it was life-changing. Like seriously, I got my sleep every 3 hours increments. Again, it's kind of like the same thing if you're like waking up overnight to breastfeed. You just have to like know that the first 2 weeks you're just going to be sleep deprived. And then also, like I said, in the morning, Jarrett would take Lennon to go do stuff. I would have my nanny take Lennon to go do stuff so that I could rest with Madden. Literally, he would just sleep on me, sleep next to me, sleep in the bassinet, whatever. And we would just sleep all day. Like that is how you recover. That is how you like deal with it. But like I said, with your toddler, lean on your village. Ask your friends to have a play date and let your toddler play. Like ask for help with like your grandma, grandpa, something, your aunts. My sister was there a lot to help me and like everything. Again, that was something that I had to just let go with two kids. I was obsessed with like making sure I was with Lennon 24/7 the first time. And honestly, that's like fine. Like I wanted to go through that. I wanted to be super, super like control freak with her. And then with Madden, I'm like, okay, I have a toddler and I have a newborn. Like I need to be able to delegate responsibilities, like make sure that I'm taking care of myself as well as my kids. And that was something that I'm like, okay, just ask for help. Just do it. Just ask for help. Find a nanny. Pay them for 2 hours, just 2 hours to go take your toddler to library, go to the library and just go to story time. Like that, just those 2 hours to rest, breastfeed, recover, whatever you need will be life-changing. Like seriously. So that's something that I can just tell you to do. If you're married, like, lean on your husband, start delegating responsibilities. If he doesn't want to be involved, well, then maybe you need to have a deeper conversation about if you want to be with him, because Jarrett is so involved in everything. Currently, right now, he just gave Madden a bottle while I pumped and am filming this video because he is such a hands-on dad, and I'm so thankful for that. He changes every diaper, washes my pump parts, took Lennon out to play places whenever I needed him to, or like whenever he was doing stuff, because also he was bonding with his own child. Like, we don't need to have a nanny all the time to take her out to places. Jarrett's here, he can do that too. So if he's not in football, he's with Lennon, like always, or me. Like, it's awesome. So lean on your support, ask for support. That's my tips and tricks. Sleep during the day if you are not sleeping at night, because that's all you can really do. Really, there might be times where you're like, okay, I don't want to lay in bed, like I want to go do something. Go with your toddler, have dad take care of the newborn. All they do is sleep at the first 3 weeks. Like, it's easy, honestly, very easy. But yeah, those are kind of my my tips and tricks. And if you can get a night nurse, that's my #1 tip. Okay, so this one kind of goes one in the same, my postpartum necessities and my newborn necessities. I'm gonna put them all below for y'all because I'm not gonna go through them, each of them right now, because of course I'm probably gonna forget some. But off the top of my head, everything Frida Mom. I love Frida Mom. For diapers, I used always sleepwear underwear that are disposable. Again, we'll link it all below. Those are like my real basic postpartum must-haves. I really didn't need anything for breastfeeding this time. Like, sometimes nipple balm just in case they get chapped, but they didn't really this time. Again, it was way easier to break in the nipples since they'd already been breastfed on from Lennon. And then newborn necessities, y'all. Snuggle Me, SwaddleMe swaddles, the Velcro ones. Lots of newborn onesies because you go through them so fast. Snoo, my favorite thing ever. Doona, my favorite thing ever. So glad to be back in the Doona. Nanit, love Nanit. What else? Again, we'll put everything below that I don't think of because that stuff's important. Newborn necessities, we love that. I mean, really all you need for newborn is some clothes, your boobs, or your bottles. Dr. Brown's bottles, I swear by. I actually had a friend who could not get their baby to drink from the bottle, and I told her, I was like, try Dr. Brown's skinny nipple one, not the big one, the skinnier nipple one, and let me know. And that baby latched immediately to the bottle, and she was like, you are my lifesaver. I can go out to dinner now. And I'm like, Dr. Brown's, we love you. What else? Yeah, anything else I think of I'll put below, but those are stuff right on the top of my head. I will put the whole list below, my updated, because I really used basically all the same stuff that I used with Lennon. Yeah, everything I used for Lennon was perfect. Next question is hardest versus easiest thing this 4th trimester. I would say the hardest thing this 4th trimester is obviously dealing with 2 kids. Like, you have a newborn, but you also have a whole other toddler that you have to pay attention to and grow and take care of as well. So that's something that I definitely took for granted with the newborn stage with Lennon, because I thought it was so like annoying. And then this time, like, newborn stage is so easy. That's why they make newborn stage very easy, so that you can like take care of your other kids, because they don't move. They just lay right there, which is so nice. My legs are going numb. All right, I just had to sit crisscross applesauce because my legs were going numb. Anyways, so yeah, the hardest thing is definitely just having 2 kids. 2 kids in general. It's just a lot of like differencing in like stuff right now. Like, obviously Madden is a newborn and he can't really do much. And then Lennon is a toddler. She wants to go do everything. But that's also the beauty of having a newborn and a toddler, is because newborns are so easy. They're just supposed to like come along with, which is great and all. But I also love Lennon to be like focused on, and like I want her to like be able to have fun without her thinking that I'm like partial to baby brother at the same time. That's what we call him, baby brother. But I like love to focus on her as well. So that's also hard, because I want to like make sure each child gets what they need, and that's, you know, where help comes in. But yeah, so that's how the hardest part is, juggling 2 kids. And then the easiest part, I would say, is the easiest about this 4th trimester is having Jarrett. Last time with Lennon, we had just gotten traded to the Raiders, so I was by myself the entire time. I had no family because they were also like busy, like whatever, you know, living their life. And this time I just have my whole village, so that's been great. But having Jarrett this time has been like so amazing because, you know, like I just feel like God did not make it to where moms had to be alone. They have a husband for a reason, they have a significant other for a reason, they have a village for a reason. And if you're someone who doesn't have that, I can't imagine, like I really can't. And my heart goes out to you. And single moms, my heart goes out to you. My goodness, you guys are super women, let me tell you. Because even just doing a couple hours alone or whatever, I'm like, I just lean on Jarrett so much and he holds me up and supports me. And having that for this 4th trimester has been definitely the easiest quote thing. All right, next question was thoughts on this age gap. Would you do it again? I love this age gap mainly because Lennon is so, I mean, she's always been very advanced for her age, but she acts like a 4-year-old. So like she is so helpful. She knows exactly what a burp cloth is. I'm like, can you grab me that burp cloth? Can you grab me this? She's like, yep, got it. So I feel like I can't expect Madden to be that advanced, but if he is, then I'll be down to have another baby, same age gap. But if not, then I feel like we'll wait a little bit longer. I feel like the sweet spot would be like when she's 2.5. Sorry, whenever he's 2.5. So then that would mean I have to get pregnant. The reverse math is hard, but like right around 15 months, I think. Is that how it is? I don't know. Whatever. But right around the 18-month mark, 15, 18-month mark, I'll reassess how I want to deal with the next kid, the 3rd kid, because I want to have 4 ultimately, maybe 5 if Jarrett approves. But I want my table full. I want my table, my Thanksgiving table full at the end of life. That's how I feel. And I've had great births, great kids, and I just am so thankful. So yeah, so I love this age gap. I would do it again. I highly recommend to anybody who's like 202, that sounds like craziness. I'm like, honestly, it's great. It really is great in my personal, I can only personally speak from my opinion. So that's all I can give y'all, but I love it. Okay, this is a great question because again, this is obviously my 2nd time of having kids, but baby resources to know, or this is the question, baby resources to know what to do. I have zero idea what to expect. Totally valid. I literally was like, how do I change a diaper before I got pregnant with Lennon? And then obviously this time I didn't really have to like refresh many things. I really kind of knew from instinct and just like from going through it. And you really don't know until you experience it. So my advice to people who are pregnant or just found out they're pregnant or trying or whatever and want to know where to start, me and Jared both took the course, but Carrie Locker, she's on Instagram. I can put her stuff below. I took her baby course and her breastfeeding course, and that was so helpful for a place to know where to start. So highly recommend that. It literally talks about like everything you need to know, like circumcision or baby, like jaundice, like what to expect, because I didn't even know babies come out with jaundice. Like I didn't even know what jaundice was. So all of that is in her course and I highly recommend it. I love it. And as far as like sleep schedules and like all that stuff, because I'm a big schedule mama, because I like to know where my free time is and it helps them sleep better. Like I'm not an expert, but like I did my research, and as you should do for yourself, because don't ask me questions. I just go off of what I've learned and I can point you to where that is. Taking Care of Babies, Moms on Call book. I read all of them and we are following Moms on Call right now. Taking Care of Babies worked for Lennon a lot during like her 4 to like 10 month area, and then once she went to 1 nap, Moms on Call worked again. But Taking Care of Babies wake window stuff was great for Lennon, especially because she was low sleep needs at a point. So all low sleep needs, high sleep needs, wake windows, everything like that, all of that will be in those Moms on Call, Taking Care of Babies, all that stuff. And then as far as like just learning baby basics, Carrie Locker's course, newborn course, and her breastfeeding, learning from breastfeeding. That's how I learned everything I know about breastfeeding, from there, and then like Instagram. But yeah, so I'll put all of that below for y'all. Okay, I will end on this question, this last one, because I feel like I touched on every single one except for this. How was your mental health this time around? So with Lennon, I would say like I struggled a little bit, just like mentally, because I was doing a lot by myself. This time I'm definitely not struggling as much mentally, but I will say there's a different mental twist that kind of happened this time, and it was the mental battle of like, am I giving Lennon enough attention? Am I getting Madden enough attention? Am I doing enough as a mom? Am I like, how many hats a day can I wear before I take care of myself? And I know I'm preaching this whole video, like, ask for help, allow for help, give yourself some grace, like all that stuff. And I'm preaching that because I had to tell myself that so many times during this postpartum experience, and I'm still telling myself that still 8 weeks later. But the one thing that like really got to me, like, I feel like a couple times I was like, okay, I'm like really sad right now. Like, they call it baby blues a little bit, I would say, because I just like kind of like realized like, all right, like whenever I would have time to myself, whenever Lennon was like napping or whatever, I'm not going to get that time anymore. You know what I mean? It was kind of like mourning a little bit more of like my routine almost, because I'm like, okay, I'm not going to be able to like binge my favorite show while Lennon's napping for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to be dealing with a newborn, and that reality hit me. And at some point I was like, oh my gosh, like it was, you know, like I was like, okay, but I still have so many like dreams for myself, and I have so many like things I want to accomplish and everything. So that like hit me for a little bit, I would say, but then I snapped right out of it because I'm like, it's not for long. Like, it's really not for long. So that's kind of like where my mentality has been lately. I'm like, these days are so short and so like I better soak them up because they're going to be gone. Like, I even remember with Lennon, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the sweet spot. And then she kept getting older and I was like, this is the sweet spot. And so like knowing I have stuff to look forward to, and knowing I'm going to get my time back. Like, Lennon and Madden are going to be 1 and 3 years old, like at some point, and they're going to be playing together. And then I'm going to be able to have that time again where they're napping at the same time or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, right now is not the time to like wish I had some me time. However, I am still going to make sure I do, because that's just something that works for me personally as a mom. Like, I need my time and my help with my kids so that I can have that time for myself, so I can be a better mom. And that's just how I function. And if you can do that, highly recommend. If you can't, then like, I totally understand. Like, it's something that is like a privilege that I acknowledge for sure. But yeah, so I feel like my mentality this time around was like, whoa, like I really am never going to have time for myself as much anymore. Like, right now, this is my time for myself, but I'm also spending it doing work stuff. So it's just like realizing that, but also reminding myself that this time is not the time to like, it's not the time to wish for something else. Like, I have everything I've ever wanted in life right now. I have my kids, amazing husband. I have a healthy body. I have an amazing support system, a good routine right now, and all of that. So like, that's my mentality, and I'm sticking to that. I'm choosing not to think about the negatives like I always do, because I always choose to push the negatives away and think of positive things, and just like change my mentality and outlook on everything, because I think mentality is so important in life, and that's something that college soccer taught me. I will always relate it back to college soccer. But yeah, so I just love being a mom. I think being a mom was my calling in life, and I'm not going to take these days for granted. So my mentality has been great. Like, it's truly been great. Minus, like, I never want you guys to think that I don't struggle, because I do, of course. Like, there are times where I'm like, oh my God, like I need to check myself. Like, I need to cry in Jared's arms for like 30 minutes about, I don't know what, I just need to cry. And I'm very open with that. Like, I used to be like super like hide my emotions. I'm an Enneagram 8, if you know what an Enneagram 8 is. Like, very like stubborn in making sure that I'm not showing emotion, because I am like always like, nope, gotta go, gotta do this, gotta do that. I'm gonna take care of this person, I'm gonna take care of that person. Wait, who's gonna take care of me? I also need to do that. So that's where I've been these past 8 weeks. That is my birth story. Those I will put below all of my recommendations for postpartum and newborn necessities that I love. That list will be below, because again, I'm not going to go through it because I'm going to forget something, but I always know my must-haves. And then keeping up on me on Instagram. I'm sure I'll do a Q&A, and I always answer these type of questions. So if you ever have any that I did not address in this video, because again, I like to make everything in one place, which is important, so that you can refer back to this video for 4th trimester, all of that to round out this pregnancy. Wow, I cannot believe that I'm not pregnant anymore. I mean, obviously I'm still in the thick of postpartum. Postpartum, I think, goes until like 12 weeks. But really, honestly, you should be postpartum for like a year or two, honestly. It's craziness. Like, I still feel postpartum with Lennon, but that's just because I'm just starting over again. But I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Again, if you are wondering about any of the other stuff, it'll all be below. But I feel like I haven't even got to really do like a day in the life since I brought Madden home from the hospital. So I'm very excited to do that. Can't wait. And you guys can see our crazy life with 202, but I live for the chaos. I love it. Honestly, it is the most fulfilling thing ever, being a mom. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I'll see you next time.